everybody, my name is Kelsey, and in this video I'm going to share with you my tips on how to read more. So today I want to give you some practical advice on how to read more. Okay, so first, how to get motivated to read. One of my tips is to have a list of book recommendations or books that you are excited to read. One of the things that I do that help me read more is to have TBR jar. This is obviously a mug. So what you do is you write a book on a little bit of paper, and then you make a lot of it, and then you mix it all together, and whatever you pull out first, that's gonna be your next read. So with this game, it really does help you focus on just one book at a time. One of the reasons why I get into a book slump is because I have too many books to read. I also recommend not buying more books. Just read the books that you have already. It's not the end of the world if you buy a book here and there, but try to minimize it and only read the books that you are interested in. I am a mood reader, so really just focus on reading books that you're in the mood for and that you know you are going to finish. Also, Goodreads and Storygraph is great for getting ideas on which books to read. It's also important to be aware of why you want to read more. Having reasons behind your goals, like let's say you want to read 100 books in a year, but having a reason, a purpose behind that, and just always remind yourself why you're doing this. I like to remind myself the reason why I love to read is because it helps with concentration, getting off my phone, opening your mind to different cultures, different ways of life, and just like, I love this quote where it says something like, you can live 1,000 lives if you read 1,000 books, and that is so true. You get such a more expansion of life when you read books. I also love to read for the sheer beauty of words and a greater understanding of the world and myself. And the last one, most importantly, escapism and enjoyment. Another great tip is to always have a book with you. Whether you're going on a commute, you're waiting for your appointment at the dentist, you're walking down the street, you want to swap out your time for going on your phone to reading, going to bed, and also waking up in the morning first thing, reading is so good for you. And some people like to read while they're brushing teeth, but to me, I just feel like that's a little bit extra. Just fill in your gaps all throughout your day, and always just bring a book with you. Like, put it in your bag, have it with you always. And this really helped me read a ton of books last year. When I lived in Stoke Newington area, it would take me like 40 minutes on the bus to get to the British Library, so I would read for 40 minutes every day of the week that I was commuting. So that really helped me read a lot of books. And it's so easy to pick up your phone as a default. And my next tip, that if you're in a reading slump, one of the great things you can do is short story books. Short story books are like books like Claire Keegan has some great short stories, and just reading an easy book will help you get out of a reading slump. Another way to read more books is buying secondhand thrifted books. Books that are not brand new, and books that have been pre-loved. And I find so many more special books that are secondhand than ones that you buy brand new, and they're more expensive when you buy brand new. So I highly recommend. It's so much more aesthetic, I feel like, of an experience when you read a secondhand book, so I recommend that as well. And going to bookstores is such a therapeutic experience. I love just going into a secondhand bookshop and just browsing around. It's so fun. It's more fun to me than just going shopping at high street. And also the library is another great way to read your books instead of buying them, because you'll still get that same adrenaline feeling that you get from buying a new book, but at least you can save money and just return it when you're done. Also, make sure you return it on time because the charges do add up quick. Another way to read is to find a very beautiful aesthetic cafe, library, or you can even make your room or your living room pretty, like aesthetically. And for some reason, when I'm in an environment that is beautiful, it makes me want to read more. So like when I'm at the British Library, for example, and I go into the reading rooms, I get so inspired to read. It's amazing like what your environment can really propel and give you leverage to read more. And also, like I said, cafes are very nice. You can also read in a cemetery, a garden. You can read anywhere you want, obviously, but it's just my personal opinion that's really helped me a lot to read in a very aesthetically pleasing environment. Another thing to remember what you read is to write it down. Write a quick summary of the book. Make a character list. If it's fiction, you can write who your favorite character was. A way that I used to think that helped you remember books was tabbing it and underlining it, which it can in a way if you grab an old book and look back on it. For example, I have this book that I absolutely tabbed to smithereens, but I've actually never ever like looked back on it. I learned from trial and error, you can only learn this from trial and error, that if you read a book and you tab it, it actually, for me, it abstracts me from the book. I just feel like it's a bit of a distraction. It pulls me out of the story. And then part of your list to remember what you read, you can write down what did you learn from the book and your favorite quotes. And then you can do further reading, follow up, context research, critical reading to further knowledge. You can do research about the book that you read just to dive more deep into it. And then you can also make a list of books, other books that this one reminded you of. Just writing all this stuff down just really helps you get more involved and engaged in the book. It does help you remember. And another fun thing you can do is, if you really love a book, you can also read criticism from other readers and what they have to say about the book, which I find just really fun to read. And as a result, develop my own thoughts about the book. And you don't have to do this for every book that you read, because if I did that for every book that I read, I would go crazy. It would be a little bit too much, so I just like to do this particularly if it's a book that I really love. And also, the more you read, the more accessible big books like Anna Karenina, Don Quixote, War and Peace, all those big Bible books will be more attainable to you, because out of your critical thinking with the smaller short books, you can then expand to big books. Also, listening to audiobooks really helps. If you don't want to physically read on paper, just download an app. Audible is my first choice. You could just press play while you're cleaning house, brushing your teeth, getting ready in the morning, doing chores, or if you're walking down the street and you're doing errands, just listen to a book while you're doing that. It really helps you to accomplish more, because sometimes I find it hard to always focus down with a book, because you really do have to stop everything and give attention to this book. But with Audible, it's so fun because you can actually do other things and multitask at the same time. So I love doing that. That's another great idea. Another thing I want to say is have a dedicated reading time. What time of the day do you feel that you can read the best? Like, what is your energy levels throughout the day? And pick the highest time where your energy level's at and go from there, and so your reading will literally skyrocket. Also, exploring new genres is a wonderful way to keep on reading. If you've been reading for many and it also helps you to read more critically. I feel like when you read books that you hate, so if there's a book that you want to DNF, sometimes just don't do it, because I feel like if you read books that you hate, it helps you so much more in your personal taste for books. Also, a reading challenge is pretty good. I love the reading challenges that are like reading a book in 24 hours, 30-day challenges, read 30 pages every day, and a lot of them can be quite toxic in a way though, because I feel like there's a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram that just read for the clickbait of it and not for the enjoyment of it. Like, I don't like when readers are just reading books just to post about it. Actually read something that you enjoy so that way you get through it. Also, join a book club. Like I said before, make friends who love to read books, but join a book club. There's so many of them and they're so fun. I hope this was helpful for you to read more books. Thank you so much for watching today. I love you all so much. And please subscribe to the channel. I make lots of videos about books, fashion, vlogging, and I also started a new blog. The link is down below. I'm currently in the process of writing a poetry anthology myself, so your support means the world. Thank you so much. À bientôt, au revoir.